From digital microscopes to 3D printers, some students are using the Digital Learning Initiative as a springboard for exploration. Elementary students find a way to catapult their kindness quotient to a new level thanks to the Great Kindness Challenge. Limited sight certainly doesn't limit the visions of success for students practicing for the Braille Challenge. And what has these students designing structures out of toothpicks and marshmallows? Find out on this episode of Spotlight on Shawnee Mission. Welcome to Spotlight on Shawnee Mission. I'm your host, Leanne Neal. Shawnee Mission's Digital Learning Initiative is bringing new educational opportunities to students throughout the district. Check out how it is helping engage 6th graders at Briarwood Elementary. Students excited about science and exploring the world around them, one of the benefits of greater access to technology. For example, these digital microscopes have opened up new avenues for learning in Jonathan Farrell's class.
Right here, this is a wireless microscope and an iPad, and the way this works is unlike traditional microscopes, which you have a little viewing port with and they're kind of bulky. This, you can focus and unfocus it, as you see right there, and you can look at even the tiniest detail in some of these things. I mean, what you're looking at right here, that's a table. It's just a table.
When we got the microscopes with the iPads, we were able to just kind of explore our classroom. So the first thing we did was just kind of look at everything. And I think what makes these different than just a normal microscope is that it lowers the barrier to entry. I mean, it's just there in front of you. My experience with traditional microscopes is it's kind of tedious and you have to get it just right, and it's bulky and you're kind of bending over and you're looking through one eye, where these are displayed on the iPad screen. And so as soon as you have it, the screen turns on and you can see anything at like 200 times zoom.
When the class studied ecosystems, Farrell says students' ability to take the microscopes outside into the field made a significant difference in what they were able to accomplish.
Well, I think it's really cool, and it's really helpful because instead of having to bring stuff from outside into here, you can bring the microscope outside.
Well, one of my cool things that I like to look at was the dirt, because the dirts had like little grain things in them, and when you put the microscope in it, you could really see what it really was really up close.
Briarwood's iPads and MacBooks are also helping students explore another new type of technology, 3D printing.
I've heard about the idea for the past couple of years, and I thought that would be awesome if we could have it in our classroom, and I didn't really think it was a realistic possibility.
But thanks to a grant, Farrell was able to purchase a 3D printer and supplies for Briarwood students to use.
First thing we dove into was I let them just design an invention or an innovation, something that made a product better or something that was just a new creation. And I think they're seeing just kind of how things are made. When you have to break down the process and go through about when you're designing an object, what it's going to be used for and how big it's going to be and just the sizes and the dimensions and putting it together. So just for them to have the experience of designing things with CAD software and then seeing them come to life on a printer has been a fun opportunity.
We have learned kind of how to research and decide how big we want the models to be. We had to go on the internet and look up the dimensions of the phone, and then we had to include the measurements in our phone case, which was difficult, but we did it.
Mr. Farrell always says it starts with an idea, and so you have the idea and then you design it. It was good to see it in reality. It looks different. Things look smaller because you really have to do the scaling on there, because one of them, it looked big, but it turned out this big.
These kids are eager to learn and they're excited by new things, and they just have wonderful ideas. And so when I was able to get that into their hands, I knew that they would do great things with it.
Right now, just as the printer and microscopes are sort of novel for the students, so are the iPads. The next phase of the Digital Learning Initiative will put an iPad into each student's hands at Briarwood.
I think when technology just kind of blends into the background and the learning is the focus and not necessarily the device, but actually what you're learning takes over. And I'm looking forward to that next year, where they're just there, they're just like the pencil of today.
Farrell Carol's class also integrates technology into other areas of learning, such as making movies to help with vocabulary words and using a private chat room to facilitate class discussion. If you've driven by, you may wonder why all the changes at the site that used to be Antioch Middle School. Up next, details on the exciting new district project.
Hi, I'm Morgan from Rushton Elementary, and I read Prairie Evers by Ellen Airgood. Prairie Evers is about a girl whose grandmother recently moved away. She was always homeschooled by her grandmother, so now she has to go to school for the first time in her life. So she bought some chickens to keep her mind off of her grandmother moving away and having to go to school for the very first time. Little does she know she is about to make a very good friend. I rate this book 4 out of 5 stars for being a very good book about friendship. So go ahead and read it.
Welcome back. Lots of activity at the site of what used to be Antioch Middle School. The demolition of the old building is the start of a new central administration center for the district. The new facility will bring Shawnee Mission staff currently housed across the district at McEachin Administrative Center, Broadmoor, Arrowhead, and Indian Creek together in one location. In addition to administrative offices, the new Center for Academic Achievement will include facilities for the district's culinary arts program, biotechnology and medical health science programs, Project Lead the Way classrooms, and other programs. The current building design includes 2 wings connected by a cafe and a large public area that would seat about 250 for presentations and events. The Center for Academic Achievement is scheduled to be completed in the fall of 2016. Kindness could be infectious at Benninghoven Elementary. That's where the students took part in the Great Kindness Challenge.
Benninghoven Elementary is honored to unite all students in the spirit of kindness and respect. Therefore, I, Jeff Myers, Mayor of the City of Shawnee, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the Great Kindness Challenge Week in the City of Shawnee, Kansas, where kindness matters at Benninghoven Elementary.
Help me make a stand, every girl, boy, woman, and man. Let your voices rise, you'll be satisfied, and reach out with a kind-hearted hand.
So the Great Kindness Challenge is 1 week of schools across the United States and internationally that are just pledging to do as many acts of kindness during the entire week of the school week.
We have tons of activities planned for the whole week, so the students will have a checklist of 50 activities that they can cross off.
Like collecting books, they're gonna hand out hearts tomorrow. They're just doing a lot of kind things.
You high five a person, hug a person, and compliment like 5 people. And it's been really fun to do that.
Show the world that kindness matters, reach out with a kind-hearted hand.
Our students are working on the Kind-Hearted Hand Challenge. Each student is tracing their hand and decorating it, and these are to help break the Guinness Book of World Records.
We've done 10,511 so far, and we need to do 19,495 more.
It is crazy awesome. This could not have gone any better. I mean, I just feel like the students seem to be peppier in the hallways, and the teachers seem to be loving it, and that was really the whole point of what we wanted to accomplish.
I'm really hoping that it just continues beyond 1 week. I mean, that's kind of the goal, is to just lay the foundation, and I think it's also important for them to know that these little acts of kindness that are on the checklist, something as simple as smiling at somebody, really can have an impact.
Well, I think it's a great activity. You know, anytime you can promote kindness in your community. I think that's a fantastic thing.
It's important to be kind because you don't want people to be like mean to you all the time, and when it doesn't feel good.
It just helps our school, and it helps other people be kind in our school to make our school like a better place.
Reach out with your kind-hearted hand.
Kids for Peace set up the Global Week for Kindness. The local chapter, Lucy's Kids for Peace, honors Lucy Weber, who died of cancer as a toddler and would have been a student at Benninghoven this year. Practice makes perfect is how the old adage goes. Coming up, we'll meet two Shawnee Mission students practicing for an unusual kind of competition. Plus, making science, technology, engineering, and math elementary when Spotlight on Shawnee Mission returns. Welcome back. A couple of Shawnee Mission students who are putting in the practice hope that it will pay off when it comes time for a rather unusual competition.
This is a brailler. If you press down on the keys, the raised dots will appear on paper.
Audrey Bethay and AJ Lohr are at Shawnee Elementary to work on their Braille reading and writing skills with Coach Jerry Heil.
These things have E's?
Yep, they have E's oftentimes.
It's in preparation for a special challenge that will put these skills to the test.
The Braille Challenge is a competition where people with no sight or some sight compete using raised dots.
And the students compete in activities such as reading comprehension, proofreading, they have to study charts and graphs and answer questions, spelling, and then speed and accuracy where they listen to a selection and then they have to accurately braille it.
So, Audrey, you're working on proofreading? Right?
Yes.
So what's the first thing that we do when you do proofreading? What's the first thing that you read?
Let me think. We go down to a number and it will say in every one of them, where's the air?
The challenge is really to promote Braille literacy. You know, there's been talk of, well, do we really need Braille? Yeah, we really need Braille. That's literacy for blind and severely visually impaired individuals. We really need Braille. It also provides the students with a lot of camaraderie. You know, often they're the only blind student in their school, so they get together and they're hanging out with other Braille readers and other people that use canes, and so it's a good thing.
Being with other kids like me who have no sight or very little sight, it's really like seeing an old friend. It's really nice.
Okay, so what's the title of that one?
New backpacks.
New backpacks. Okay, and then you look along the top, right?
Audrey and AJ are used to putting their Braille skills to the test. In fact, in 2014, Audrey took first and AJ took second in their divisions at the Kansas Regional Braille Challenge. A couple of years before that, Audrey qualified for and competed at the National Challenge.
Well, I practiced with my teachers before the competition, and I practiced with some of my friends, although that doesn't turn out so well over FaceTime, but I try.
Braille can do a lot for you. It makes your life easier too. Is opponent spelled correctly?
How are they spelling it?
O-P-P-O-N-I-N-T.
No.
Nope, I think that's your error.
I began in preschool. I went to Children's Center for the Visually Impaired,
where they started teaching me Braille at like 3.
From those beginnings have grown some big aspirations.
I'm writing a book based on a movie my friend and I are filming. It's about these people who wake up on ice and they have to try to get home. It has 15 chapters.
I think it makes them proud to do well, to hang out with other Braille readers. It really reinforces what we're trying to do.
Keep at it, Audrey, and we'll keep an eye out for you and AJ in future Braille competitions. Up next, a Shawnee Mission teacher gets a boost from NASA and brings it back to her school in creative ways.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I go to Santa Fe Trail Elementary. I read the book The Dogs of Winter by Bobby Pyron. This book is about a little boy named Ivan. Everything was going fine with his mother and babushka, or grandmother, until he came. After his mother disappears, he must go to the city and join the lifestyle of begging and stealing, until the dogs find him. Ivan and his 7 dogs meet some interesting people. And did I mention that Ivan is only 5? How will he survive? I rate this book 5 out of 5 stars for its teamwork between Ivan and his pack and its exciting plot. I hope you like it as much as I do.
Welcome back. Expanding her kindergartner's horizons is important for Shawanoe teacher Allison Drew. On any given day, you might find her students figuring out how to build the best structures with toothpicks and marshmallows. Or maybe working on figuring out what it takes to make a giant tower of cubes. It's all part of Drew's passion to make science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM, a part of her students' daily routine. One of her favorites is a monthly challenge for students to engineer something amazing out of things they find around the house. For example, aluminum cans.
So this year and part of last year, I started sending home a STEM home project just to see if students would even be interested in doing it. And I've had a really great turnout of students last year and this year, and of just using their imagination and creating things with just everyday things they have at home.
I made a flower out of a can and a toilet paper roll.
I made an owl and a dog, and Miss Drew has them on her desk.
We've done things with pencils. We've done things with marshmallows and toothpicks. We've done things with just things that they find around their house.
Next month, the object to use is plastic bottles. Drew is excited that for some, these projects have become a family affair.
I have a bunch of kids that have done it at home, and their parents have gotten involved, and it's stuff that they do with their family.
Her success with her kindergartners prompted Drew to start looking for a program that would help her bring even more STEM-inspired ideas to students.
And I ran across this NASA Endeavor program that happened to be online, so it was accessible. And I had 3 different classes. One was methods of STEM strategies. One was coding and robotics and one-to-one devices, which I felt worked well with the district. And the other one was a curriculum I did with the upper grades, which was a 3D view of the Earth.
Drew says she thinks younger children are especially open to exploring STEM areas, and she hopes their early exposure pays off down the road.
I really hope that I sparked some interest, and that they'll, when they go out into their own world, that they will say, oh, wait a minute, I heard about this in Mrs. Drew's room, or maybe I can add on this when I get older.
Earlier Earlier in the year, kindergartners in Drew's class had an opportunity to flex their STEM muscles by taking part in the Hour of Code. This international event gave students an opportunity to try doing some computer coding themselves. That's all the time we have for this episode of Spotlight on Shawnee Mission. Join us again as we continue to feature the programs and people of Shawnee Mission who are helping guide students to success. Thank you for watching.